Yeah, girl, I gotta braid my hair today. I'm gonna do it live. I was thinking about doing a live video today, and I was gonna braid my hair and make a wig. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do that today. After this, I gotta go do a panel with these people. Oh, we can do the hangout thing on the cell phone too. Cause I did one yesterday. I did a panel with some church people and this spiritual lady. So it is possible. What color wig? I am just doing some bundles. I can show you right now. So I had went to the beauty supply store yesterday and got this little funnel thing, closure piece thing. So I got this, and I got this bundle from the beauty supply store. It's a 12 inch. It's made in China. And then I got this from Eunice Hair Company. I had bought a box of hair from them one time, and I had got a frontal piece and 3 bundles of hair, but I only wound up using 2 bundles. So this is one of the bundles I had got from Eunice, and then this is the rest of the bundle from the Eunice hair that I had. This one I ain't never opened, but I did open this one. So I'm gonna take these bundles and this thing, and I'm gonna make a wig. I got my dome cap right here. So I'm gonna do all that live, probably later on today. But I'm gonna braid my hair first, and then I'll do all that. So yeah, I'm gonna be on here probably all day today, y'all. So, but I'm about to get ready to read the Bible right quick. How I never used the Hangouts. Oh, okay, hold on. Hey, Renee, how you doing? How did you do the Hangout thing on here? Hey, Jeffrey, him. So the Hangout thing, you gotta download the app for Hangout, okay? And then whoever the person that's gonna create the Hangout has to send you an email. Now I don't know, or whoever in the Hangout has to send an email. Anybody, I guess, who in the group could send an email to somebody else, and then they join the group or whatever. The email gonna have the link so they can join the group, and then they just pop in. Now I don't know how we go about creating the Hangout thing, cause the one that I went to, people was already in there. They had been in there for a minute, so I don't know like how it is when you create it, but it's possible to do on a cell phone because I was in the group and I was on the cell phone, so I was on the little panel thing, and I like that. Like if like you not talking, it's not gonna show you big, but like if you talk, whoever the last person was that was talking, like that's who they gonna show. Like the thing just I guess could detect whoever is talking more. I'm doing good. How you doing, Jeffrey? About to get ready to read the Bible. How you doing? I hope you having a good day. I know. I don't know how to do it. I ain't never. I mean, I ain't really even tried because I just did the hangout thing yesterday for the first time. So I don't know. I'm good. Just getting ready for my son's birthday today. Hey, my son turned 9 in June. My son turned 9 in June, Jeffrey. Hey, Angel. I will be doing a live stream this morning showing how to invite people on Hangouts and how to live stream. Oh, that's nice, Angel. I hope y'all could go check out Angel on live stream. He gonna show y'all how to do everything. I might try to pop in, but I don't know what time I'm gonna be out of this little thing that I'm doing because I got something to do for 9 o'clock. So yeah, not no, I'm lying. Is it 9 here? 10. I got something to do at 10. So I got a little time on here, and then 10 o'clock I gotta leave. So I hope you have fun today too, Clemmy. I'm trying, Mo. I'ma try to have fun. I'ma just get on here and see what I can do. But I wanted to braid my hair live. You do your hair before you leave. You better do your hair before you leave. Oh, I'm not going nowhere. I'm braiding my hair. I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna be on the on the phone. I got a thing to do on the phone. But I'm not about to go nowhere. I'm going to braid my hair on live. That's what I'm telling you. What happened with Pam? I don't know. I do not know what happened with Pam. I don't know. I didn't even ask her. All right, well, y'all, I'm about to start reading the Bible soon. Anybody else that come in here, I want to say thank you for coming to my video. I'm about to read the Bible, and yeah, we about to just do that. All right, y'all. Clemmy, I hope you have a good day too today. So I'm on Leviticus chapter 6. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a person sins and commits a trespass against the Lord by lying to his neighbor about what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or about a pledge, or about a robbery, or if he was extorted from his neighbor, or if he was found what was lost and lies concerning it and swears falsely, in any one the little reading thing. But thank you for stopping through for me. Okay. If he was exhorted for his neighbor, if he was found what was lost and lies concerning it and swears falsely, in any one of these things that a man may do in which he sins, then it shall be because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore what he has stolen, or the things which he has extorted, or what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or the lost things which he found, or all that about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore its full value, add 1/5 more of it, and give it to whomever it belongs on the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord, a ram without blemish from the flock, with your valuation, as a trespass offering to the priest. So the priest shall make anointment for him before the Lord, and he shall be forgiven for any one of these things that he may have done in which he trespasses. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the burnt offering. The burnt offering shall be on the hearth upon the altar all night until morning, and the fire of the altar shall be kept burning on it. And the priest shall put on his linen garment and his linen trousers. He shall put on his body, and take up the ashes of the burnt offering which the fire has consumed on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. Then he shall take off his garments, put on other garments, and carry the ashes outside the camp, a clean place. And the fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it. It shall not be put out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order on it. And he shall burn on it the fat of the peace offering. A fire shall always be burning on the altar, it shall never go out. This is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it on the altar before the Lord. He shall take from it his handful of the fine flour of the grain of offering, with its oil, and all the frankincense which is on the grain offering, and shall burn it on the altar for a sweet aroma, as a memorial to the Lord. And the remainder of Aaron and his sons shall eat. With unleavened bread it shall be eaten in a holy place, in the court of the tabernacle of meeting that shall eat it. It shall not be baked with leaven. It have given I have given it as a portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy, like the sin offering and the trespass offering, and the male among the children of Aaron may eat it. It shall be a statute forever in the generations concerning the offerings made by the fire of the Lord. Everyone who touches them must be holy. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they shall offer to the Lord, beginning on the day when he is anointed, 1/10 of every ephah of fine flour as a daily grain offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the night. It shall be made in a pan with oil. When it is mixed, you shall bring it in. The baked pieces of the grain offering shall offer for a sweet aroma to the Lord. The priest from among his sons, who is anointed in his place, shall offer it. It is a statute forever to the Lord. It shall be wholly burned. For every grain offering for the priest shall be wholly burned. It shall not be eaten. Also the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed and the sin offering shall be killed before the Lord, it is most holy. The priest who offers it for sins shall eat it. In a holy place it shall be eaten in the court of the tabernacle of meeting. Everyone who touches its flesh must be holy. Hello, everybody who just came in. How y'all doing? Um, and when it is blood is sprinkled on any garment, you shall wash that on which is sprinkled in the holy place. But the earth, but the earthen vessel in which it is boiled shall be broken, and it is boiled in the bronze pot. It shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. All the males among the priests may eat it. It is most holy, but no sin offering which any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of meeting to make anointment in holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burned in the fire. Chapter 7. Likewise, this is the law of the trespass offering. It is most holy. In the place where they kill the burnt offering, they shall kill the trespass offering, and its blood he shall sprinkle around the altar. And he shall offer from it all its fat, the fat tail and the fat that covers the entrails, the two kidneys and the fat that is on them by the flanks, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver above the kidney, he shall remove, and the priest shall burn them on the altar as an offering made by the fire of the Lord. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the priests may eat it. It shall be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. The trespass offering is like the sin offering. There is one law for them both. The priest who makes anointments with it shall have it, and the priest who offer anyone's burnt offering, the priest shall have himself the skin of the burnt offering which he has offered. Also, every grain offering that is baked in the oven and all that is prepared in the covered pan or in a pan shall be the priest who offers it. Every grain offering, whether mixed with oil or dry, shall belong to all the sons of Aaron, to one as much as the other. This is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings which he shall offer to the Lord. If he offers it for a thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cake mixed with oil, unleavened wafers anointed with oil, or cake of blended flour mixed with oil. Besides the cakes, as his offering, he shall offer leavened bread. Good morning, Frank. Leavened bread with the sacrifice of thanksgiving, his peace offering. I'm on Leviticus chapter 7, verse 14, if you wanted to read. Hey, Nicole! I'm on Leviticus chapter 7, verse 14, if y'all was reading y'all Bible. And from it he shall offer one cake from each offering as a heave offering to the Lord. It shall belong to the priest who sprinkles the blood of peace offering. The flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day as its offering. He shall not leave any of it until morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering is a vow or a voluntary offering, it shall be eaten the same day that he offers his sacrifice. But on the next day, the remainder of it also may be eaten. The remainder of the flesh of the sacrifice of the third day must be burned with fire. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering is eaten at all on the third day, it shall not be accepted, nor shall it be imputed to him. It shall be an abomination to him who offers it, and the person who eats of it shall bear guilt. The flesh that touches any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burned with fire. And as for the clean flesh, all who are clean may eat of it. But the person who eats the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offering that belongs to the Lord while he is unclean, that person shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, the person who touches any unclean thing, such as human uncleanliness, an unclean animal, or any abominable unclean thing, and who eats the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offering that belongs to the Lord, that person shall be cut off from his people. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, You shall not eat any fat of the ox, sheep, or goat, and the fat of any animal that dies naturally, and the fat of what is torn by wild beasts may be used in other ways, but you shall by no means eat it. So, y'all, we should stop eating fat because you see, they said don't eat fat. But whoever eats the fat of the animal of which men offer an offering made by fire to the Lord, the person who eats it shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, you shall not eat any blood in any of your dwellings, whether a bird or beast. Whoever eats any blood, that person shall cut off from his people. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, He who offers the sacrifice of his peace offering to the Lord shall bring his offering to the Lord from the sacrifice of peace offering. His own hands shall bring the offering made by fire to the Lord. The fat with the beast he shall bring, that the beast may be waved as a wave offering before the Lord. And the priest shall burn the fat on the altar, and the beast shall be Aaron's and his sons. Also, the right thigh you shall give to the priest as a heave offering for the sacrifice of your peace offering. He among the sons of Aaron who offers the blood of the peace offering and the fat shall be right thigh for his part. For the beast of the wave offering and the thigh of the heave offering I have taken from the children of Israel for the sacrifices of their peace offering, and I have given them to Aaron the priest and his sons from the children of Israel by a statute forever. This is the concentrated portion of Aaron and his sons from the offering made by fire to the Lord. On the day when Moses presented them to minister to the Lord as priests, the Lord commanded this to be given to them by the children of Israel on the day that he anointed them by a statute forever throughout their generations. This is the law of the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the trespass offering, the consecrations, and the sacrifice of peace offering, which the Lord commanded Moses on Mount Sinai on the day when he commanded the children of Israel to offer their offerings to the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai. Chapter 8. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments and the anointing oil, a bull as the sin offering, 2 rams, and a basket of unleavened bread, and gather all the congregation together at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. So Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and the congregation was gathered together at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. And Moses said to the congregation, This is wait. And Moses said to the congregation, This is what the Lord commanded to be done. Then Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. And he put the tunic on him, girded him with the sash, and clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod on him. and he gritted him with the intricately woven band of ephod, and with it tied the ephod on him. Then he put the breastplate on him, and he put the urim and the thummim in the breastplate. And he put the turban on his head, also the turban on its front, and he put the golden plate, the holy crown, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Also Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle, all that was in it, and consecrated them. He sprinkled some of it on the altar 7 times, anointed the altar and all its utensils, and the laver and its base, and consecrate them. And he poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head and anointed him to consecrate him. Then Moses brought Aaron's sons and put tunics on them, girded them with sashes, and put hats on them, and the Lord was command as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he brought the bull for the sin offering. Then Aaron and his sons had their hands and on the head of the bull for the sin offering, and Moses killed it. Then he took the blood and put some on the horns of the altar all around with his finger, and purified the altar. And he poured the blood at the base of the altar and consecrated it to make anointment for it. Then he took all the fat that was on the entrails and the fat lobe attached to the liver and the 2 kidneys with their fat, and Moses burned them on the altar. But the bull, it its hide, its flesh, and its offal was burned with fire outside the camp to the Lord, and commanded as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then he brought the ram as the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram, and Moses killed it. Then he sprinkled the blood all around the altar, and he cut the ram into pieces, and Moses burned the head and the pieces of the fat. And he washed the entails and the legs in water, and Moses burned the whole ram on the altar. It was a burnt offering for a sweet aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he bought the second ram, the ram of consecration. Then Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram, and Moses killed it. Also took some of its blood and put it on the tip of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Then he brought Aaron's sons and Moses, put some of the blood on the tips of their right ears, and on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toe of their right foot. And Moses sprinkled the blood around the altar, all around the altar. Then he took the fat and the fat tail, all the fat that was on the entrails, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver, the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh. And from the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took an unleavened cake, a cake of bread anointed with oil, and one wafer, and put them on the fat and on the right thigh. And he put all these in Aaron's hands and in his son's hands, and waved them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then Moses took them from their hands and burned them on the altar on the burnt offering. They were consecration offerings for a sweet aroma. There was offering made by fire to the Lord. And Moses took the breast and waved it as a wave offering before the Lord. It was Moses' part of the ram of consecration, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then Moses took of the anointing oil and some of the blood which was on the altar, and sprinkled it on Aaron and his garments, on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him. And he consecrated Aaron, his garments, his sons, and the garments of his sons with him. I need some water. I'm on Leviticus chapter 8, verse 31. I don't know if anybody new came in, but if so, hello, how you doing? I hope you are having a good day. But yeah, I was saying I'm on Leviticus chapter 8, verse 31. And Moses said to Aaron and his sons, boil the flesh at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and eat it there with the bread that is in the basket of consecration offerings. As it commanded, saying, wait, let me make sure I'm reading the right thing. Okay. As I commanded, saying, Aaron and all and his sons shall eat it. What remains of the flesh of the bread you shall burn with fire, and you shall not go outside the door of the tabernacle of meeting for 7 days until the days of your consecration are ended. For 7 days he shall consecrate you, as he has done this day. So the Lord has commanded to do, to make anointment for you. Therefore you shall stay at the door of the tabernacle of meeting day and night for 7 days, and keep the charge of the Lord, so that you may not die. For so I have been commanded. So Aaron and his sons did the things that the Lord had commanded by the hands of Moses. Chapter 9. It came to a place on the 8th day by Moses is called wait It came to pass on the 8th day that Moses is called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said to Aaron, take yourself a young bull as a sin offering and a ram as a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. And the children of Israel shall speak, saying, take a kid of the goats, and a sin offering, and a calf of and a lamb, both of the first year without blemish, as a burnt offering. Also a bull and a ram as a peace offering to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord shall appear to you. So they brought what Moses commanded before the tabernacle of meeting, and all the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. Then Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord commanded you to do, and the glory of the Lord will appear to you. Then Moses said to Aaron, go to the altar, offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make anointment for yourself and for the people. Offer the offering of the people and make anointment for them as the Lord commanded. Aaron therefore went to the altar and killed the calf of the skin offering, which was for himself. Then the sons of Aaron brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, put it on the horns of the altar, and poured the blood of at the base of the altar. But the fat, the kidney, and the fatty lobe from the liver of that sin offering he burned on the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. The flesh and the hide he burned with fire outside the camp. And he killed the burnt offering, and Aaron's sons presented to him the blood which he sprinkled all around the altar. Then he presented the burnt offering to him with its pieces and head, and he burned them on the altar. And he washed the entrails and the legs and burned them with the burnt offering on the altar. Then he brought the people's offering and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and killed it and offered it for sin like the first one. And he brought the burnt offering and offered it according to the prescribed manner. Then he brought the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar besides the burnt sacrifice of the morning. He also killed the bull and the ram as sacrifices of peace offering, which were for the people, and Aaron's sons presented to him the blood with which he sprinkled all around on the altar. And the fat from the bull and the ram, the fatty tail, what covers the entrails and the kidneys, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver. And they put the fat on the breast that he burned the fat on the altar. Then he burned the fat on the altar. But the breast and the right thigh Aaron waved as a wave offering before the Lord as Moses had commanded. Then Aaron lifted his hands toward the people, blessed them, and came down from offering the sins of offering, the burnt offering and peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle of meeting and came out and blessed the people. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. And the fire came out from before the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. When all the people saw it, they shouted and fell to their faces. Chapter 10. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took his censer and put fire in it, put incense on it, and offered profane fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. So fire went out from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord spoke, saying, by those who come near me, I must be regarded as holy, and before all the people, I must be glorified." So Aaron held his peace. Then Moses called Masiel and Ezaphan, the sons of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, "Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary of the camp." So they went near and carried them by the tabernacle, by their tunics out of the camp, as Moses had said. And Moses said to Aaron and to Israel and Adamar, his sons, "Do not uncover your heads nor tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord has kindled. You shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die, for the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you." And they did according to the word of Moses. Then the Lord spoke to Aaron, saying, "Do not drink wine or intoxicating drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that you may could distinguish between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean, and that you may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord has spoken to them by the hands of Moses." And Moses spoke to Aaron and Israel and Etamar his sons who were left. "Take the grain offering and remains of the offering made by fire to the Lord, and eat it without leaven beside an altar, for it is most holy. You shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your due and your son's due of the sacrifices made by the fire of the Lord, for so I have commanded. The breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the heave offering you shall eat in a clean place, you, your sons, and your daughters with you, for they are your due, and your sons' due, which are given for from the sacrifices of peace offerings of the children of Israel. The thigh of the heave offering and the breast of the wave offering you shall bring with the offerings of fat made by fire, to offer a wave offering before the Lord. And it shall be yours and your sons with you by a statute forever, as the Lord has commanded." Then Moses made careful inquiry about the goat of the sin offering, and there it was burned up. And he was angry with Israel and Adamar, the sons of Aaron, who were left, saying, "Why have you not eaten the sin offering in a holy place, since since it is most holy, and God had given it to you to bear the guilt of the congregation, to make anointment for them before the Lord? See, its blood was brought inside the holy place. Indeed, indeed, you should have eaten it in a holy place, as I commanded." And Aaron said to Moses, "Look, this day they have offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things were befallen wait. And such things have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? So when Moses heard that, he was content. All right, Frank. See you later. Okay, I'm on chapter 11 now, y'all. Leviticus chapter 11. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, speak to the children of Israel, saying, these are the animals which you may eat among all the animals that are on the earth. Among the animals, whatever divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, and chew the cud, cud, that you may eat. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat among those that chew the cud, or those that have cloven hooves, and camel, the camel, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. The rock hyrax, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. The hare, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. And the swine, though it divides the hooves, having cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. These you may eat all that are in the water, whatever in the water has fins and scales, whether the sea or in the rivers, that you may eat. But all in the seas or in the rivers that do not have fins and scales, all that move in the water, or any living thing which is in the water, they are an abomination to you. They shall be an abomination to you. You shall not eat their flesh, but you shall regard the carcasses as an abomination. Whatever in the water does not have fins or scales, that shall be an abomination to you. And these you shall regard as an abomination among the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, the vulture, the buzzard, the kite, and the falcon after its kind, every raven after its kind, the ostrich and short-eared owl, the seagull and the hawk after its kind, the little owl, the fisher owl, and the screech owl, the white owl, the jackdaw, and the carrion vulture, the stork, the heron after its kind, and the hoopie and the bat. All flying insects that creep on all fours shall be an abomination to you. Yet these you may eat of every flying insect that creeps on all fours, those who have joined legs among their feet, with which they leap in on the earth. These you may eat: the locusts after its kind, the destroying locusts after its kind, the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. All other flying insects with which 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. By these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcasses of any of them shall be unclean until evening. Whoever carries the part of the carcasses of any of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. The carcasses of any animal which divides the foot, but is not cloven hooves, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Everyone who touches it shall be unclean. And whatever goes in its paws among all kinds of animals that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Whoever touches any such carcass should be unclean until evening. Whoever carries any such carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. It is unclean to you. These who shall be unclean to you among the creeping things that creep on the earth, the mole and the mouses and the large lizards after its kind, the gecko, the monitor lizard, and sand reptiles and sand lizards, and the chameleon. These are unclean to you among all the creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until evening. Anything which any of them fall when they are dead shall be unclean, whether it is any item of wood or clothing or skin or sack, whatever item it is in which any work is done, it must be put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening. Then it shall be unclean. Then it shall be clean. Any earthen vessel into which any of them fall, and you shall break, or whatever is in it shall be unclean. In such a vessel, any edible food upon which water falls becomes unclean, and any drink may be drunk from it becomes unclean. And everything on which a part of any such carcass falls shall be unclean, whether it is an oven or cooking stove. It shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean to you. Nevertheless, a spring or a crescent in which there is plenty of water shall be clean. But whatever touches any such carcass becomes unclean. And if a part of any such carcass falls on any planting seed which is to be sown, it remains clean. But if water is put on the seed and is a part of any such carcass falls on it, it becomes unclean to you. If any animal which you may eat dies, he who touches its carcass shall be unclean until evening. He who eats of its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. He who carries its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. And every creeping thing that creeps on the earth shall be abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatever crawls on its belly, whether goes on all fours, or whatever may have feet among all creeping things that creep on the earth, these you shall not eat, for they are an abomination. You shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, nor shall you make yourself unclean with them, lest you be defiled by them. For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourself, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any creeping thing that creeps on the earth. For I am the Lord who brings you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. For to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the animals and the birds and and every living creature that moves in the waters and every creature that creeps on the earth, to distinguish between the unclean and the clean, and between the animal that may be eaten and the animal that may not be eaten. Okay. Y'all, I think I'm going to read chapter 12. Well, I might read chapter 12 and chapter 13. I don't know. I'ma just keep reading. I appreciate everybody who's still here with me and everybody who came through. I hope everybody having a good day, a blessed day. And yeah, so I just wanted to, well, my whole goal is to really read the whole Bible. But I already read Genesis, Exodus. I'm on Leviticus now. And I want to get through the whole thing, but I just wanted to come on here and just kind of like, read with y'all. Anybody who may want to, get through the Bible, because people always talking about the Bible and stuff, but until you actually read the Bible for yourself, you don't really know. So I just wanted to kind of go through it. But I appreciate everybody for staying and listening to the word with me. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep reading, but I just wanted to thank everybody for staying. Okay. So, Leviticus chapter 12. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, If a woman has conceived and born a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, as in the days of her customary impurity she shall be unclean. And on the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. She shall then continue in the blood of her purification 33 days. She shall not touch any hallowed thing, nor shall it into the sanctuary until the days after her purification are fulfilled. But if she bears a female child, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her customary impurity, and she shall continue in the blood of her purification 66 days. When the days of her purification are fulfilled, whether for a son or daughter, she shall bring to the priest a lamb, and of the first year as a burnt offering, as a young pigeon to the or a turtle dove as a sin offering, to the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then he shall offer it before the Lord, and make anointment for her, and she shall be clean from the flow of her blood. This is the law for her who has borne a male or a female. If she is not able to bring a lamb, then she bring 2 turtle doves and 2 young pigeons, one as a burnt offering, and the other as a sin offering. So the priest shall make anointment for her, and she will be clean. Chapter 13. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, When a man has on the skin of his body a swelling, a scab, or a bright spot, and it becomes on the skin of his body like a leprous sore, then he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons the priest. The priest shall examine the sore on the skin of the body, and the hair on the sore has turned white, and the sore appears to be deeper than the skin of his body. It is a leprous sore. Then the priest shall examine him, and pronounce him unclean. But if the bright spot on is white on the skin of his body, and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and its hair has not turned white, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the sore 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the 7th day, and indeed, if the sore appears to be as it was, and the sore was not spread on the skin, then the priest shall isolate him another 7 days. Then the priest shall examine him on the 7th day, and indeed, if the sore has faded, and the sore has not spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is only a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab should be at all spread over the skin, after he has been seen by the priest for his cleansing cleanses, I can't even talk, cleansing cleansing, he shall be seen by the priest again. And if the priest sees that the scab has indeed spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy. When the Lord when the leprous sore is on the person, then he shall be brought to the priest. And the priest shall examine him, and indeed, if the swelling on the skin is white, and it has turned the hair white, and there is a spot of raw flesh in the swelling, it is old leprosy on the skin of his body. The priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not isolate him, for he is unclean. And if leprosy breaks out all over the skin, and the leprosy covers all the skin of the one who has the sores from head to toe, wherever the priest look, then the priest shall consider, and indeed, if the leprosy has covered all the body, he shall pronounce him clean who has the sore. It has all turned white. He is clean. When raw flesh appears on him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall examine the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean. It is leprosy. Or if the raw flesh changes and turns white again, he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall examine him, and indeed, if the sore has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. Who has the sore, he is clean. If the body develops a boil in the skin and it is healed, and in the place of the boil there comes a white swelling or a bright spot, reddish white, then it shall be shown to the priest. And if when the priest sees it indeed appears deeper than the skin, and its hair has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy sores which has broken out of the ball. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there are no white hairs in it, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days. And if it should be all spread over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprous sores. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread, it is the scar of the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if the body reaches a burn on its skin by fire, and the raw flesh of the burn becomes a bright spot, reddish white and white or white, then the priest shall examine it, and indeed, if the of the bright spot has turned white and it appears deeper than the skin, it is leprosy broken out in the burn. Therefore, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there are no white hairs in the bright spot, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the 7th day. If it at all spread over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous sore. But if the bright spot stays in one place and has not spread on the skin, but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn. The priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is the scar from the burn. If a man or woman has a sore on the head or the beard, then the priest shall examine the sore, and indeed, if it appears deeper than the skin, and there is in it thin yellow hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a scaly leprosy of the head or beard. But if the priest examines the scaly sore, and indeed does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale 7 days. And on the 7th day, the priest shall examine the sore, and indeed, if the scale has not spread, then there is no yellow hair in it, then the scale does not appear deeper than the skin. He shall shave himself, but the scale he shall not shave. And the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest shall examine the scale, and indeed, if the scale has not spread over the skin and does not appear deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. He shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scale should at all spread over the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the scale has spread over the skin, the priest indeed not the priest need not speak for yellow hair. He is unclean. But if the scale appears to be at the standstill and there is a black hair grown up in it, the scale has healed and he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. If a man or a woman has a bright spot on the skin of the body, specifically white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and indeed, if the bright spots on the skin of the body are dull white, it is a white spot that grows on the skin. He is clean. As for the man whose hair has fallen from his head, he is bald, but he is clean. He whose hair has fallen from his head, he is bald for on the forehead, but he is clean. And if there is on the bald head a bald forehead or reddish white sore, or it is leprosy breaking out on his bald head and his bald forehead. Then the priest shall examine it, and indeed, if the swelling of the sore is reddish white on his bald head or on his bald forehead, as the appearance of leprosy on the skin of the body, he is a leprosy man. He is unclean. The priest shall surely pronounce him unclean. His sore is on his head. Now the leper to whom the sore is had his clothes shall be torn and his head bare, and he shall cover his mustache and cry, unclean, unclean. He shall be unclean. All the days all the days he has the sore, he shall be unclean. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone. His dwelling shall be outside the camp. Also, if a garment has a leper's plague on it, whether it is a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it is in the wrap or woof of linen or wool, whether in leather or in anything made of leather, and if the plague is greenish and reddish in the garment or in the leather, whether in the wrap or in the woof or in anything made of leather, it is a leprous plague, and shall be sworn to the priest, should be shown to the priest. The priest shall examine the plague and isolate that which has the plague 7 days. And he shall examine the plague on the seventh day. If the plague has spread in the garment, either in the wrap or the woof in of the leather, or in anything made of leather, the plague is an act of leprosy. It is unclean. He shall therefore burn the garment in which is the plague, whether wrap or woof or wool or in linen or any of leather, for it is an act of leprosy. The garment shall be burned in the fire. But if the priest examines it, and indeed the plague has not spread in the garment, either in the wrap or the woof, or anything made of leather, then the priest shall command that they wash the thing in which the plague, and he shall isolate it another 7 days. Then the priest shall examine the plague after it has been washed. And indeed, if the plague has not changed its color through the plague, though the plague has not spread, it is unclean. You shall burn it in the fire. It continues eating away, whether it damages is outside or inside. If the priest examines it, and indeed the plague has faded after its washing, then he shall tear it out of the garment, whether out of the wrap, or out of the wool, or out of the leather. But if it appears again in the garment, either in the wrap, or in the wood, or in the anything of the leather, it is a spreading plague. You shall burn it with fire, that it is the fire that in which it is plagued. And if you wash the garment, either wrap or woof or whatever is made of leather, if the plague has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed a second time, and it shall be clean. This is the law of the leper's plague in a garment, or wood, or linen, either in a wrap, or woof, or anything made of leather, to pronounce it clean, or to be pronounce it unclean. Chapter 14. I think I might stop at chapter 14. Ooh, chapter 13 was hard, y'all. Chapter 13 was hard. That was a lot of information. Chapter 14. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper. For the day of his cleansing he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall go out of the camp, and the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the leprosy is healed in the leper, then the priest shall command to take from him who is to be cleansed two living and clean birds, cedar wood, scarlet, and hyssop. I don't know. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and the hypos, and dip them in the living bird, and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed for the leprosy, and shall be pronounced, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let him living, and shall let the living bird loose in the open field. He who is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be cleansed. After that he shall come into the camp, and shall stay outside his tent 7 days. But on the 7th day he shall shave all his hair off his beard and his eyebrows, and his hair shall shave he shall shave off. He shall wash his clothes and wash his body in water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs without blemish, one ewe lamb of the first year without blemish, 3 tenths of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and 1 log of oil. Then the priest who makes him clean shall present the man who is to be made clean to those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. And the priest shall take 1 lamb and offer it as a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them as a wave offerings before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb in the place where he kills the sin offering and the burnt offering in a holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so is the trespass offering. It is a, it is most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and the thumb of his right hand, and on his big toe on his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log oil and pour it into the palm of his own hand. And the priest shall dig his right finger into the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before the Lord. And of the rest of the oil in his hand, the priest shall put some on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the blood of the trespass offering. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hands shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed. So the priest shall make anointment for him before the Lord. Then the priest shall offer the sin offering and make anointment for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. Afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the grain offering on the altar. So the priest shall make anointment for him, and he shall be clean. But if he is poor and cannot afford it, then he shall take 1 male lamb as a trespass offering to be waved, to make anointment for him. 1 tenth of an ephah is fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves, and 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to afford. One shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. He shall bring them to the priest on the 8th day of his cleansing, to the door of the tabernacle of meeting before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespasses offering and log of oil, and the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering and put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand. Then the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put some of the oil that is in his hand on the tip of his right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the place of the blood of the trespass offering. Hello. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand shall be put on the head of him who is to be cleansed, and to make anointment for him before the Lord. And he shall offer one of the turtle doves of young pigeons, such as he can afford. Hey, Rita, I'm almost done reading, Rita. I'm on, I don't know if you, well, I'm reading the Bible, obviously. I'm reading Leviticus. I'm on chapter 14, verse 29, if that matters. But I'm almost done. I'm going to stop at chapter 15. But I'm on chapter 14 right now, verse 29. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed, to make anointment for him before the Lord. And he shall offer one of the turtle doves, a young pigeon, such as he can afford, such as he is able to afford, the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, with a grain offering. So the priest shall make anointment to him who is to be cleansed before the Lord. This is the law for one who has a leprous sore, who cannot afford the usual cleansing. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when you have come into the land of Canaan, which is I gave you as a which I gave you as a possession, and I put the leprous plague in the house in the land of your possession, and who owns the house comes and tells the priest, saying, it seems to me that there is some plague in the house, then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest goes into it to examine the plague, that all that is in the house may be made unclean. And after the priest shall go in to examine the house, and he shall examine the plague, and indeed, if the plague is on the walls of the house, within wait, is in if the plague is on the walls of the house with ingrained streaks, greenish or red, which appear to be deep in the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut the door for 7 days. And the priest shall come again on the 7th day and look, and indeed, if the plague has spread on the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague, and they shall cast them into the unclean place outside the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped inside all around, and the dust that they scrape off they shall pour out into an unclean place outside of the city. Then they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take other mortar and plaster the house. Now, if the plague comes back and breaks out the house, after he has taken away the stones, after he scrapes the house, and after it's plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and indeed, if the plague has spread in the house, it is an act of leprosy in the house. It is unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones and its timber, and all the plaster of the house, and he shall carry them outside of the city and to a unclean place. Moreover, he who goes into the house at all while in while it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And he who lies down in the house shall wash his clothes and wash and he who eats in the house shall wash his clothes. But if the priest comes in and examines it, and indeed the plague is not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague has healed. And he shall take no cleanse the house, and he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, cedar wood, scarlet, and hyssop. Then he shall kill one of the birds in the earthen vessel over running water, and he shall take the cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them into the blood of the slain bird, and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and the running water, and the living bird, with the cedar wood, and hyssop, and the scarlet. Then he shall let the living bird loose outside the city in the open field, and make anointment for the house, and it shall be clean. Then it is law for any leprous wait, this is the law for any leprous sore or scale, for the leprosy of a garment or of an house, for a swelling and a scab and a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy. Whew. Okay, y'all. So that was, hey, huh? I just finished when you got here. Oh yeah. So yeah, y'all. I just finished reading. I read Leviticus chapter 6 through chapter 14. Um, I appreciate everybody for sticking in here with me. Yo, I'm about to end this stream. I'm actually about to start another live stream. I was just telling Clemmy that I'm gonna actually do my hair on here. So if y'all wanna come into my other stream, I'm about to exit this one because I just wanted this one to be basically about me reading the Bible. So if anybody wanted to come and be a part of me reading the Bible, that's what this part was about. But now I'm just about to start a new live stream, and I'm just gonna be basically doing my hair and talking to whoever want to talk to me or whatever. So I appreciate y'all for sticking in here with me and going through the Bible with me. I was just trying to do a little reading. Thank you. Yeah.